Guest stars popping up on TV shows and shaking things up is nothing new. You know those times when a big-name actor shows up on your favorite sitcom and suddenly it feels like you're watching a whole different show. Yeah, it happens more often than you think. Take Fred Armisen, for example. He played the ambassador of a Venezuelan Parks Department in an episode of Parks and Rec. Now, for about 20 minutes, it feels like Leslie Knope and the gang had been transported into a whole other universe. Then there's this episode of Friends where Billy Crystal and Robin Williams drop in front of a big coffee shop improv, and suddenly it's like the regular cast is just sitting back watching the masters at work. And let's not forget Martin Short's appearance on Arrested Development. It was like he was beamed in from some parallel dimension. But out of all these guest stars, none have felt quite out of place as Will Ferrell's stint on The Office. Now, don't get me wrong, Will Ferrell is hilarious. We've seen him nail some pretty out there characters before, like Ashley Schaefer, the over-the-top BMW dealership owner on Eastbound and Down. He fit right into Danny McBride's world of redneck shenanigans. But when it came to The Office, it's like they couldn't figure out what to do with him. In his first appearance, he set up as this confident, buttoned-up guy who's supposed to be the yin to Michael Scott's yang. He's got these quirks, like being terrified of his food allergies, but he starts off as a pretty decent foil to Michael. But then, as the episode goes on, the nice guy facade starts to crack, and we see the real D'Angelo emerge. But then, in his next episode, he's co-hosting the Dundies, and suddenly he's a bumbling mess with stage fright. He can't even read the cue cards promptly, let alone hold his own against Michael. And just like that, he's not a jerk anymore. Fans are left confused. Was the whole jerk thing just a phase? And it doesn't stop there. In his third episode, we find out he's actually terrible at his job, like openly deranged when it comes to business. He also has some weird backstory about being overweight as a kid and having a messed up relationship with food. Sure, they hinted at his weird eating habits in his first episode, but his breakdown over eating cake at the end, completely out of left field. But there's more. In his final appearance, he's subtly back to being this talented boss who's good at his job. He even admits the whole thing is a joke, and even Jim, the king of sarcasm, admits that D'Angelo is good at what he does. But how did he get the job in the first place? Oh, just because he saved the CEO's dog. And then there's this cringeworthy scene where he tries to juggle without any balls to the tune of Evanescence Bring Me to Life. Yeah, that happened. And then, as if the character couldn't get more unpredictable, he injures himself trying to dunk a basketball and writes himself out of the show. So what was his deal? Was he a businessman? Was he good at his job? Was he a nice guy or a jerk? Honestly, not sure the writers even knew. It's like they were making it up as they went along, throwing whatever jokes they could think of at the wall and seeing what stuck. The Office almost managed to destroy Ferrell's career single-handedly, a career that had taken decades in the making. For context, after earning his BA in sports information in 1990, Ferrell quickly realized that a career in broadcasting wasn't his calling. Instead, he found himself working odd jobs like being a hotel valet and a teller at Wells Fargo. However, these gigs weren't without their memorable moments. On his second day as a valet, Ferrell managed to tear a baggage rack off of a van while trying to navigate it under a low beam. And during his brief stint as a teller, he found himself coming up short on cash, not because he was stealing, but simply due to carelessness and error-prone tendencies. Despite these early setbacks, Ferrell's passion for comedy burned bright, encouraged by his mother to pursue what he loved. He packed his bags and headed to Los Angeles in 1991. It was there that he discovered the Groundlings, a renowned comedy group known for nurturing improv talent. Joining the Groundlings was a turning point for Ferrell, as he immersed himself in the world of improvisation and character development. At the Groundlings, Ferrell found his comedic groove. He honed his impersonation skills, with one of his favorites being the legendary basketball announcer Harry Carey. Alongside fellow comedian Chris Catton, Ferrell created the Butabi Brothers, a pair of hapless club goers known for their unsuccessful attempts at picking up women. It was during this time that Ferrell's comedic genius truly began to shine. Ferrell's big break came when he caught the attention of Saturday Night Live producers during a performance at the Groundlings. In 1995, he joined the cast of SNL and quickly became a fan favorite. His spot on impersonations, including memorable portrayals of George W. Bush and Harry Carey, solidified his place in comedic history. While conquering late-night television, Ferrell also made his waves in Hollywood, from memorable roles in films like Austin Powers, Zoolander, to his breakout performance in Old School. Ferrell. He proved that he was more than just a funny guy from SNL. It was his starring role as Buddy the Elf in Elf that cemented his status as a comedic superstar. The film became a holiday classic and showcased Ferrell's ability to blend humor with heart. But Ferrell wasn't content to rest on his laurels. Through the 2000s, he continued to push the boundaries of comedy with films like Anchorman, Talladega Nights, and Step Brothers. His comedic range was on full display, from playing clueless newscaster Ron Burgundy to eccentric race car driver Ricky Bobby. Audiences couldn't get enough of Ferrell's larger-than-life characters and razor-sharp wit. Beyond the silver screen, Ferrell's comedic talents extended to music videos, television shows, and even Broadway. His willingness to take risks and embrace new challenges set him apart in an industry known for its predictability. Whether he was challenging Red Hot Chili Peppers, drumming Chad Smith to a drum-off, or launching his own podcast, Ferrell never failed to entertain. However, after watching Will Ferrell in The Office, it felt like his comedic light started to dwindle. He was in a number of movies that went nowhere, including Zoolander 2, Holmes and Watson, Get Hard, Ferrell Takes the Field, A Deadly Adoption, and the list goes on and on. Even when he shows up on the screen in a great movie, his presence goes unnoticed. Take Barbie, for example, a phenomenon, if you will. If you ask me, anyone could have played his role. He added nothing to the character. When you see Ferrell on the big screen, you expect to laugh, or even just a chuckle. But in Barbie, nothing. He totally fell flat. Now, I know Will Ferrell will go down in history as one of the best comedians of all time. Unfortunately, nothing lasts forever, and from this view, it feels like the sun is starting to set on Will Ferrell's time in the sun. But I want to hear from you. What films do you think Ferrell totally botched? Or have I got it all wrong? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you liked this video, make sure to click and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.